The 1960s were a time of radical change in automotive design, with manufacturers experimenting with bold shapes, colors, and features. However, not all designs were well thought out, and many cars from this era have aged poorly, becoming symbols of questionable taste and misguided innovation. From awkward proportions to impractical features, these 13 cars showcase some of the silliest design choices of the decade that have not stood the test of time.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 13. The 1961 Plymouth Fury, part of Chrysler's ambitious push to stand out in the competitive automotive market, quickly became a cautionary example of how bold design choices can backfire. Introduced during a time of rapid stylistic evolution, the Fury's peculiar angular design and disappointing build quality left it looking outdated almost as soon as it hit the showroom floor. The Fury's most notable flaw was its controversial design. With exaggerated tail fins and angular bodywork, it seemed like a relic of the 1950s rather than a forward-looking car for the new decade. The front grille, featuring a split-toothy design, and the rear end, dominated by prominent fins, felt disjointed and lacked the cohesive elegance seen in competitors like Chevrolet and Ford. By 1961, the market was shifting toward cleaner, more restrained designs, making the Fury's exaggerated features appear garish and outdated. The Fury suffered from build quality issues, including inconsistent panel alignment, subpar materials, and rust-prone components. These issues contributed to a sense of cheapness that undermined its position in the market, particularly when compared to the sturdier and more refined offerings from competitors. While the Fury was available with a range of engines, including a potent V8, the car's performance was hampered by its weight and less than ideal handling. The base models equipped with smaller engines offered underwhelming acceleration, further tarnishing its appeal to buyers seeking both style and performance. Chrysler's decision to lean into the forward-look aesthetic alienated many conservative buyers who preferred more conventional styling. Instead of attracting new customers, the Fury's design choices pushed potential buyers toward competitors, resulting in declining sales. By the early 1960s, the American car market was moving towards sleeker, more aerodynamic designs. The Fury's dated aesthetics and awkward proportions made it feel like a relic of a bygone era rather than a car of the future. The Fury's interior was spacious and well-appointed, offering comfortable seating and decent amenities for its class. It provided a smooth ride, which appealed to families and buyers prioritizing comfort over cutting-edge style or performance. Plymouth equipped the Fury with several advanced features for its time, including push-button transmission controls, which added a futuristic touch, even if they weren't universally appreciated. Despite its flaws, the 1961 Fury remains a fascinating snapshot of the transitional phase in American car design. It highlights the challenges manufacturers faced in adapting to rapidly changing consumer tastes. The 1961 Plymouth Fury is remembered less for its merits and more for its role as a design misstep during a critical period for Chrysler. Its odd styling, coupled with quality concerns, ensured that it would never achieve the iconic status of its competitors. However, its quirks have given it a certain charm among collectors, particularly those interested in mid-century automotive design. The 1961 Plymouth Fury serves as a reminder that bold design risks don't always pay off. Its angular styling and lackluster build quality doomed it to early obsolescence, and its inability to adapt to market trends cemented its place as one of Plymouth's less successful efforts. Today, it stands as an intriguing relic of an era when automakers often gambled big and sometimes lost in their pursuit of innovation and market share. Number 12. The 1962 Ford Thunderbird M-Code was marketed as a luxury sports coupe, aimed at bridging the gap between high performance and sophisticated design. However, it failed to live up to its ambitious promise due to its excessive styling, bloated curb weight, and diminished sportiness. While it holds a certain charm as a classic, its design and engineering choices made it age poorly in the face of evolving consumer preferences. The 1962 Thunderbird embraced Ford's bullet-bird styling, characterized by exaggerated elongated lines, a large grille, and rear tail fins that screamed late 1950s excess. Its proportions were bloated, making it appear more like a rolling lounge than a sporty coupe. While stylish for its time, the design quickly became dated as automotive trends shifted toward cleaner, more aerodynamic looks. Weighing over 4,200 pounds, the Thunderbird was exceptionally heavy for a car billed as a performance-oriented luxury coupe. This hampered its handling, agility, and acceleration, particularly when compared to lighter, more focused competitors. Despite the addition of a 390 cubic inch V8 with 3 two-barrel carburetors, M-code option, the sheer weight of the car diluted its performance gains. The M-code Thunderbird had a powerful engine producing 340 horsepower, but it was saddled with an automatic transmission as standard, further diminishing its sporty credentials. Its suspension and chassis tuning prioritized comfort over performance, making it more suited for leisurely highway cruising than spirited driving. Positioned as both a luxury coupe and a performance car, the Thunderbird M-code struggled to establish a clear identity. It didn't have the pure performance of a muscle car, nor the refined luxury of competitors like the Cadillac Eldorado. This lack of focus alienated buyers who were looking for either genuine sportiness or opulent luxury, but not a compromised mix of the two. While the Thunderbird was ahead of its time with features like swing-away steering wheels and luxurious interiors, these gimmicks became less relevant as the 1960s progressed, and consumers demanded more practical, performance-oriented vehicles. The M-code's 390 cubic inch V8 was a potent engine for its time, and it delivered impressive straight-line speed when not hindered by the car's weight. The Thunderbird boasted a premium interior with leather seats, chrome accents, and advanced features like air conditioning and power windows, which helped reinforce its status as a personal luxury car. Despite its flaws, the Thunderbird maintained a strong brand presence, and its flashy design appealed to status-conscious buyers in the early 1960s. The 1962 Thunderbird M-code's legacy is a mixed bag. Its bold design and innovative features made it a product of its time, but these very qualities rendered it obsolete as the decade wore on. The model struggled to keep up with a rapidly changing market that demanded either raw performance or refined practicality, leaving it to occupy an awkward middle ground. Today, the M-code variant is a rare collectible due to its limited production numbers, but its historical value comes more from its representation of 1960s excess than its driving dynamics or innovation. The 1962 Ford Thunderbird M-code serves as a cautionary tale of how prioritizing style and luxury over performance can backfire in a car marketed as sporty. Its weight and over-the-top design ultimately prevented it from aging gracefully, making it more of a curiosity for collectors than a timeless classic. Number 11. The 1963 Mercury Comet S22 was designed as a sporty, upscale compact aimed at buyers who wanted a dash of flair in their daily driver. It introduced bucket seats, upgraded trim, and a more performance-oriented image compared to the base Comet models. However, its lack of true innovation, coupled with uninspired styling and an identity crisis, caused it to fade into obscurity as the compact car segment evolved. The Comet S22 was caught between the sleek designs of true sports cars and the practicality of compact sedans. Its elongated body and upright stance gave it an awkward profile that lacked the elegance or athleticism needed to make a lasting impression. The front grille and rear tail fin-inspired accents felt dated, borrowing too much from the waning 1950s design language, while competitors were embracing cleaner, more modern aesthetics. While the S22 trim added sporty touches, it wasn't backed by the kind of performance that justified the image. The available inline-six engines and optional 260 cubic inch V8 offered modest power, but failed to deliver the spirited driving experience expected of a sporty compact. Its handling was average at best, with suspension and braking systems more focused on comfort than excitement. Mercury marketed the Comet S22 as both a premium compact and a sporty coupe, but it lacked the refinement to compete with luxury models and the performance to rival burgeoning muscle cars or sporty compacts like the Chevrolet Corvair Monza. This unfocused approach left the S22 appealing to a niche audience that wasn't large enough to sustain its success. Competitors like the Ford Falcon, on which the Comet was based, offered similar features at a lower price, while the Corvair Mansa and Pontiac Tempest provided more innovative engineering and sportier handling. The S22 struggled to stand out in a crowded market where buyers were becoming more discerning about what they wanted in a compact car. The early 1960s saw rapid advancements in automotive styling and engineering, leaving the 1963 Comet S22 looking and feeling outdated by the time it left the showroom floor. The S22 trim added sporty bucket seats, extra chrome trim, and unique badging, which gave it a touch of luxury compared to the base Comet models. It offered options like a center console and upgraded interior materials, appealing to buyers seeking an affordable compact with a hint of sophistication. While it didn't excel in performance, the S22 provided a relatively inexpensive way for buyers to get a sporty car without stepping up to a larger, more expensive model. Like many cars of its era, the Comet S22 was mechanically simple and reliable, making it an accessible option for budget-conscious buyers in the 1960s. The Comet S22 is remembered more as an emblem of Mercury's struggle to carve out a niche in the compact car market than as a standout model. Its styling and performance failed to evolve with the times, and it was soon overshadowed by both its rivals and the muscle car boom that followed. Today, the S22 is a rare but relatively forgotten collector's item, occasionally appreciated for its quirky charm, but largely ignored in favor of more iconic cars from the era. The 1963 Mercury Comet S22 aimed for sporty sophistication, but missed the mark with uninspired styling, average performance, and a muddled identity. While it had some redeeming qualities, its inability to adapt to changing consumer demands ensured that it quickly faded into automotive obscurity. Number 10. The 1964 Studebaker Avanti II was a continuation of the original Avanti, resurrected after Studebaker ceased production of the original model. Initially hailed as a daring and futuristic design when it debuted in 1962, the Avanti II struggled to maintain its appeal as the 1960s progressed. Its once revolutionary aesthetic became increasingly polarizing, and its limited production ensured it remained a niche player in a rapidly evolving automotive market. The Avanti's Raymond Loewy design body was revolutionary when first introduced, with sharp lines, a Coke bottle shape, and a grille-less front end. However, by 1964, the same elements that made it groundbreaking began to feel outdated and overly quirky. Automotive design trends in the mid-1960s were moving towards sleeker, more cohesive lines, leaving the Avanti's angular, abrupt styling looking like a relic of the early 60s. The transition from the original Studebaker Avanti to the independently produced Avanti II included few visual updates, which made the design feel stagnant. Rivals like the Chevrolet Corvette evolved with more modern styling and engineering, making the Avanti II appear stuck in the past. Produced by the small Avanti Motor Corporation after Studebaker exited the car business, the Avanti II suffered from the lack of financial and engineering resources available to larger manufacturers. Quality control was inconsistent, and the low production numbers limited its visibility and appeal in the marketplace. Powered by Chevrolet V8 engines, the Avanti II offered decent performance, but didn't stand out in an era when muscle cars like the Ford Mustang and Pontiac GTO were dominating the performance market. Its heavy fiberglass body and dated chassis contributed to handling and braking that lagged behind competitors. The Avanti II's hand-built nature and limited production made it expensive compared to mass-market rivals. This exclusivity was a double-edged sword, as it appealed to a small audience but alienated mainstream buyers. For those who appreciated its unconventional design, the Avanti II stood out in a sea of cookie-cutter cars, offering a sense of exclusivity and individuality. Its futuristic interior, complete with aircraft-inspired switches and gauges, remained a highlight. The Chevrolet-sourced V8s provided reliable and respectable power, ensuring that the Avanti II wasn't completely overshadowed in terms of performance. The Avanti II developed a niche cult following, with enthusiasts appreciating its rarity and connection to Studebaker's legacy. The 1964 Avanti II represents an admirable but ultimately futile attempt to preserve the vision of the original Avanti. While it carried forward the daring design and luxury appeal, its failure to evolve with changing trends sealed its fate as a niche curiosity rather than a mainstream success. Today, the Avanti 2 is a collectible oddity, appreciated by a small group of enthusiasts, but often overlooked in discussions of mid-century automotive innovation. Its polarizing design and limited production ensure it remains a footnote in the history of American cars. The 1964 Studebaker Avanti 2 was once a futuristic statement, but its failure to adapt to changing automotive tastes and its niche market focus left it aging poorly in a fast-moving era. While it retains some charm as a symbol of defiance against mainstream trends, its impracticality and polarizing aesthetics ensured that it never gained widespread appeal. Number 9. The 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado debuted as a groundbreaking vehicle, blending bold mechanical innovation with an ambitious design philosophy. As the first American front-wheel drive car since the Cord 810/812 of the 1930s, it garnered significant attention for its engineering feats. However, despite its initial accolades, the Toronado's styling and design philosophy quickly fell out of favor as the automotive industry embraced more streamlined and modern aesthetics. The Toronado's bold, squared-off design featured an expansive front end, hidden headlights, and exaggerated proportions. While striking in its debut year, these elements became dated as automotive design trends shifted towards sleeker, more aerodynamic shapes. The massive rear quarters and slab-sided profile lacked the fluidity that became popular by the late 1960s, making the car look bulky and old-fashioned within just a few years. While innovative, the front-wheel drive layout posed challenges for weight distribution and handling, particularly in a car as large and heavy as the Toronado. Its bulky design meant that the Toronado couldn't fully capitalize on the benefits of front-wheel drive, leading to underwhelming driving dynamics compared to rivals like the Pontiac Grand Prix or Buick Riviera. The complex front-wheel drive system, though innovative, presented maintenance challenges. Early models faced issues with the drivetrain, which deterred buyers accustomed to simpler, more reliable rear-wheel drive systems. The unusual placement of components like the transmission and final drive made repairs more labor-intensive and expensive. At over 4,400 pounds, the Toronado was a heavy vehicle, which affected performance and fuel economy. While muscle cars and smaller personal luxury coupes were gaining traction, the Toronado's heft became a liability. The first-generation Toronado's design remained largely unchanged until 1970, exacerbating the perception that it was outdated. Other manufacturers introduced fresher, more dynamic designs during this time, leaving the Toronado behind in terms of visual appeal. The Toronado pioneered the use of front-wheel drive in a large American car, using the innovative Unitized Power Package, UPP, which integrated the engine and transmission into a compact layout. This was a significant engineering milestone. The drivetrain offered improved traction in poor weather conditions compared to rear-wheel drive competitors. The 425 cubic inch Rocket V8 delivered a robust 385 horsepower, providing strong acceleration despite the car's weight. The engine was smooth and reliable, a hallmark of Oldsmobile's powertrain engineering. Even as the styling aged, the Toronado retained a commanding road presence. Its unique proportions and hidden headlights ensured that it stood out in traffic. The Toronado included luxury features like power seats, air conditioning, and a high-tech, for the time, instrumentation cluster, which appealed to buyers looking for a premium experience. The 1966 Toronado represented an audacious gamble by Oldsmobile to combine advanced engineering with bold styling. Its success in pushing the boundaries of what an American car could be was undeniable, earning it accolades such as the Motor Trend Car of the Year award. However, its heavy, boxy design and the complexities of its mechanical innovations made it a challenge to sustain its appeal in a rapidly changing market. Today, the 1966 Toronado is regarded as a collectible oddity, a reminder of Oldsmobile's willingness to take risks, even if those risks didn't always pay off in the long term. The 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado was a trailblazer, but its innovative spirit was undermined by its polarizing styling and practical shortcomings. While it left a mark as an engineering milestone, its dated design and excessive weight ensured that it aged poorly compared to more timeless competitors. Number 8. The 1968 Ford Torino GT aimed to be a standout in the muscle car era, introduced as the top trim of Ford's intermediate lineup. While it initially garnered attention for its attempt at blending performance and practicality, the Torino GT struggled to keep up with its competitors in both style and substance. Over time, its bulky design and uninspired aesthetics caused it to fade into the background as other, sleeker muscle cars captured the spotlight. The Torino GT's overall design leaned heavily towards size and heft, making it look more like a family car than a sleek muscle car. Its long wheelbase and wide stance, while intended to give it presence, lacked the aggression seen in cars like the Dodge Charger or Plymouth Roadrunner. The large overhangs and relatively flat body panels emphasized its bulk, diminishing the sporty appeal buyers expected. While competitors were embracing bold styling cues like Coke bottle curves or dramatic fastback profiles, the Torino GT's design remained largely conservative. Its simple grille and plain side panels failed to deliver the visual excitement expected in the muscle car market. Even the fastback version, while sleeker than the formal roofline, didn't achieve the dramatic styling of rivals like the Chevrolet Chevelle SS or Pontiac GTO. Although the Torino GT offered a range of V8 engines, including the potent 390 cubic inch V8 and optional 428 Cobra jet, its heavy curb weight blunted its straight-line performance compared to lighter competitors. The car's suspension and handling were tuned more for comfort than corner carving, which left it feeling less sporty than buyers might have hoped. By 1968, the muscle car market was saturated with eye-catching, high-performance models. The Torino GT's understated styling and middle-of-the-road performance failed to make it stand out against iconic names like the Pontiac GTO, Chevrolet Camaro, or Ford's own Mustang. The 1968 Torino GT's design didn't evolve much in subsequent years, making it feel outdated as the muscle car era progressed. By the early 1970s, even Ford seemed to shift focus to other models, leaving the Torino GT in the shadows. The Torino GT offered a range of engines to suit different budgets and performance needs, from a 302 small block to the powerful 428 Cobra jet. For buyers who wanted muscle car performance, the potential was there. Unlike some muscle cars that sacrificed usability for performance, the Torino GT maintained a relatively spacious interior and trunk, making it a more versatile choice for buyers who wanted both speed and family-friendly functionality. The Torino GT prioritized ride quality, offering a smoother and quieter experience than some of its harsher riding competitors. While this wasn't a priority for most muscle car enthusiasts, it appealed to buyers who wanted a more refined driving experience. The fastback version, inspired by Ford's success at Le Mans with the GT40, did have a touch of sporty flair. Though it wasn't as dynamic as some rivals, it offered an alternative to buyers who wanted something less aggressive than a Mustang or Charger. The 1968 Ford Torino GT occupies an awkward space in muscle car history. While it had respectable performance options and a comfortable ride, its uninspired design and hefty proportions made it less exciting than its competitors. Over time, it has become more of a curiosity than a collectible, remembered more for its role in Ford's lineup than for its impact on the muscle car scene. The 1968 Ford Torino GT was a decent car, but in an era defined by bold performance and eye-catching designs, it simply didn't do enough to stand out. Its bulky proportions and conservative styling didn't age well, leaving it overshadowed by sleeker, more aggressive muscle cars that captured the imagination of enthusiasts. Today, it remains a reminder of how tough the competition was in the golden age of muscle cars. Number 7. The 1969 Dodge Polara was Dodge's attempt to offer a full-size car that combined space, comfort, and performance. However, it fell short in key areas, resulting in a car that aged poorly in both form and function. Its massive, uninspired design failed to capture the excitement or elegance buyers sought in the late 1960s, and its lackluster performance made it unremarkable compared to competitors in the same class. The Polara's body design was a product of Chrysler's fuselage styling era, which aimed for a more streamlined appearance. Unfortunately, in the Pollara's case, the result was a boxy, oversized car that lacked the sleekness seen in other contemporaries. The bland front grille and large slab-sided body panels gave it a generic appearance that felt outdated even when it was new. The rear end, with its uninspired taillight design, failed to stand out in a market where competitors like the Chevrolet Impala and Pontiac Bonneville offered far more stylish alternatives. Despite offering V8 engine options, including a 383 and 440 cubic inch big block, the Pollara's substantial weight dulled its performance. Acceleration was sluggish compared to lighter full-size cars of the era. The handling was cumbersome, with the Pollara feeling more like a barge than a car on the road, which further diminished its appeal for buyers looking for a balance of performance and comfort. The Pollara's interior was spacious but uninspired. Hard plastics and plain upholstery didn't exude the luxury or refinement buyers expected in a full-size car. Compared to competitors like the Ford Galaxy or Buick LeSabre, the Pollara's cabin felt budget-conscious and dated. Like many cars of its size, the Pollara was a gas guzzler, and with no real standout features to justify the expense, it struggled to appeal to practical buyers. This problem was magnified as the 1970s energy crisis loomed on the horizon, making big cars like the Pollara less desirable. The late 1960s was a competitive time for full-size cars, with rivals offering more stylish and better-performing models. The Pollara's lack of identity made it easy to overlook in favor of more exciting alternatives. The Pollara was undeniably roomy, making it a practical choice for families or buyers who valued interior space. For buyers willing to opt for the higher-end 440 cubic inch V8, the Pollara could deliver decent power, though it still wasn't enough to offset its weight. Despite its other flaws, the Pollara was built with the kind of rugged engineering that Dodge was known for, which made it relatively durable for its time. The 1969 Dodge Pollara's lack of distinctive styling and underwhelming performance left it as one of the more forgettable entries in Dodge's lineup. While it offered practicality and durability, those weren't enough to make it stand out in a crowded field of more stylish and better-performing full-size cars. Over the years, it has become a relic of Chrysler's fuselage era, remembered more for its mediocrity than for any lasting impact. The 1969 Dodge Pollari aged poorly because it failed to adapt to the shifting tastes and expectations of car buyers in the late 1960s. Its uninspired design and mediocre performance left it overshadowed by competitors that offered more exciting and refined options. Today, it stands as a reminder of how full-size cars of the era often struggled to find their place in an increasingly competitive market. Number 6. The 1961 Buick LeSabre was introduced as part of Buick's full-size lineup, intended to combine luxury, style, and affordability. However, its design choices and execution left it feeling more like a dated homage to the flashy excesses of the 1950s than a modern entry into the 1960s. While the car was reliable and spacious, its aesthetics and design language failed to keep up with the streamlined, sleeker trends that were emerging during the decade. The LeSabre's liberal application of chrome trim, from its front grille to its side moldings, felt excessive even by early 1960s standards. Competitors were beginning to adopt cleaner, more restrained designs, making the LeSabre appear overly gaudy and outdated in comparison. While tail fins had been a hallmark of 1950s automotive design, by 1961, they were falling out of favor. The LeSabre's vestigial fins looked like an afterthought, clashing with the otherwise boxy body design. These remnants of 1950s styling failed to align with the forward-looking aesthetic of cars like the Ford Galaxy or the Pontiac Catalina, which featured smoother and more cohesive lines. The LeSabre's wide slab-sided body and pronounced overhangs contributed to a sense of visual heaviness. Instead of looking dynamic or sleek, it came across as cumbersome, an issue exacerbated by its chrome accents, which highlighted its bulk. While mechanically sound, the LeSabre lacked standout features to set it apart from the competition. Its design relied heavily on Buick's established formula, rather than attempting anything bold or forward-thinking. The underwhelming innovation stood in stark contrast to competitors like Chevrolet, which introduced more modern styling elements and technologies during the same period. The interior carried over some of the exaggerated styling cues of the exterior, including ornate dashboard details and chrome-heavy trim, which felt out of step with the more minimalist trends of the early 1960s. Space and comfort were adequate, but the overall design felt cluttered and overly ornate, diminishing the sense of refinement. The LeSabre was powered by Buick's reliable 364 cubic inch V8, which offered decent performance for a full-size car of its era. The ride quality was smooth, making it a comfortable option for long-distance cruising. True to its full-size roots, the LeSabre offered a roomy cabin with plenty of seating and cargo space, appealing to families and buyers looking for practicality. As the entry-level Buick, the LeSabre was more affordable than the upscale Electra and Invicta, making it accessible to a wider range of buyers. The 1961 Buick LeSabre became emblematic of an awkward transitional period in American car design. While reliable and functional, its outdated styling, marked by excessive chrome and awkward tail fins, left it overshadowed by competitors that embraced sleeker and more modern aesthetics. Over time, it became more of a curiosity than a classic, remembered for its reluctance to move beyond the design trends of the previous decade. The 1961 Buick LeSabre aged poorly because it clung to 1950s styling cues in an era when automotive design was moving toward cleaner, more progressive looks. While mechanically sound and spacious, its overuse of chrome, awkward tail fins, and bulky proportions made it feel like a relic of the past rather than a harbinger of the future. Today, it serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of relying too heavily on dated design trends in a rapidly evolving market. The 1962 Pontiac Tempest was introduced as a compact car in an era when American manufacturers were experimenting with smaller vehicles to compete with imports like Volkswagen and domestic rivals like Ford's Falcon and Chevrolet's Corvair. While innovative in some respects, the Tempest's unorthodox engineering and unusual proportions ultimately made it more of a curiosity than a classic. Though it had its share of admirers, its design and mechanical quirks ensured it aged poorly in the long run. One of the Tempest's most infamous features was its rope drive system, a flexible drive shaft made of coiled steel that transmitted power from the front-mounted engine to the rear-mounted transaxle. While innovative, this design introduced several issues, including vibration problems, potential durability concerns, and a reputation for being difficult to maintain. The Tempest's styling was unusual for its class, with a long hood and a short rear deck. The proportions were meant to evoke a sense of sportiness, but came off as awkward and unbalanced. Its compact size and wide track made it look somewhat stubby, especially compared to sleeker rivals like the Chevrolet Corvair Monza. The Tempest came with a choice of a slant-4 engine, derived from Pontiac's V8, or a Buick 215 cubic-inch aluminum V8. The slant-4, nicknamed the half a V8, was rough-running and prone to vibrations, while the Buick V8, though more powerful, was an expensive option that limited its appeal as an economy car. The exterior design featured conservative styling that struggled to stand out. While functional, it lacked the flair and cohesion of competitors, making it easy to overlook. The lack of a clear identity or strong design language contributed to its reputation as an uninspired effort. The Tempest's innovative features were phased out after a few years, as GM moved to more conventional designs for its compact cars. The 1962 model year stands as an outlier, a reminder of an experiment that didn't fully work. The rear-mounted transaxle gave the Tempest a near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, which contributed to better handling compared to front-engine, rear-drive competitors. In an era when American cars were still predominantly large, the Tempest was part of the shift toward more compact and fuel-efficient vehicles, meeting the needs of a growing market segment. The rope drive system, while flawed, demonstrated GM's willingness to experiment with unconventional engineering solutions in the pursuit of innovation. The 1962 Pontiac Tempest occupies a unique place in automotive history as a car that dared to be different but failed to fully succeed. Its rope drive system and quirky proportions made it an engineering oddity, remembered more for its unusual solutions than its practicality or longevity. Over time, the Tempest became a symbol of the risks automakers take when balancing innovation and market appeal. The 1962 Pontiac Tempest aged terribly because its ambitious engineering choices were not matched by practical reliability or cohesive design. While innovative, its rope drive system introduced maintenance headaches, and its awkward proportions failed to resonate with buyers. Ultimately, it stands as a reminder that not all automotive experiments are destined for success. Number 4. The 1963 Chevrolet Chevy 2 was designed to address a gap in GM's lineup, offering a straightforward, no-nonsense compact car to compete with the Ford Falcon and other economy models of the early 1960s. While it succeeded in delivering practicality and reliability, its uninspired, boxy design made it feel outdated almost immediately, especially as competitors embraced more modern, dynamic styling. The Chevy 2's design prioritized simplicity and cost-effectiveness, resulting in a car that was functional but completely devoid of flair. By 1963, automotive design was beginning to shift towards sleeker and more aerodynamic shapes, making the Chevy 2's rigid, squared-off lines feel like a relic of the 1950s. The Chevy 2 was intentionally basic, with little emphasis on innovation or style. Its primary selling point was being affordable and easy to maintain, but this stripped-down approach left it lacking in personality. Competing models like the Ford Falcon and Dodge Dart began incorporating bolder styling and more sophisticated interiors, leaving the Chevy 2 looking dated. While the Chevy 2 eventually gained performance variants like the Nova SS, the 1963 model lineup offered only modest engines, including a 153 cubic inch inline 4 and a 194 cubic inch inline 6. These engines were reliable but uninspiring, delivering adequate but unimpressive performance. The introduction of Sportier Nova trims in subsequent years overshadowed the standard Chevy 2, making earlier models seem like placeholders rather than standout vehicles. Buyers seeking excitement or innovation quickly gravitated toward other cars in GM's lineup or rival brands. The Chevy 2's emphasis on practicality came at the expense of any distinctive character. It was seen as a workhorse car, suitable for daily use, but lacking any features or design elements that could make it memorable. The Chevy 2's simplicity made it affordable to purchase, maintain, and repair, which appealed to budget-conscious buyers. Its straightforward engineering meant it was mechanically reliable, an important factor in the compact car market. The Chevy 2's basic platform made it a popular choice for hot rodders and customizers, giving it a second life as a performance car later in its history. The Chevy 2 filled a crucial gap in Chevrolet's lineup at a time when compact cars were gaining popularity in the US, offering a practical alternative to larger sedans. While the 1963 Chevy 2 served its purpose as an affordable and practical car, its lack of style and innovation meant it aged poorly compared to more dynamic competitors. It remains a reminder that practicality alone isn't enough to create a timeless design, especially in an era when automotive styling was rapidly evolving. The 1963 Chevrolet Chevy 2 aged terribly because it was designed with practicality in mind but little else. Its boxy, utilitarian styling felt outdated almost as soon as it debuted, and its lack of performance or unique features left it overshadowed by competitors. While reliable and functional, the Chevy 2's early models are remembered more for what they lacked than what they offered. Number 3, the 1964 Dodge Dart GT aimed to capture a segment of the growing compact car market with a blend of reliability and modest performance. However, despite its potential, the Dart GT's uninspired design and lack of standout features left it overshadowed by competitors and quickly forgotten by automotive enthusiasts. The Dart GT's styling was functional, but lacked the flair and excitement that characterized many of its contemporaries. Its boxy shape and conservative lines failed to stand out in an era when compact cars were beginning to embrace bolder designs and sporty aesthetics. The Dart GT offered few distinctive features to differentiate it from other compact cars, including its own non-GT siblings. While it included some amenities, such as bucket seats and a sporty dashboard, these did not elevate the overall experience or make a lasting impression. Although it came with a variety of engine choices, including a V8, the Dart GT's performance did not match the excitement or power of its rivals, such as the Ford Mustang or Chevrolet Nova. The driving experience was generally competent, but lacked the engaging handling or spirited performance that buyers sought in a sporty compact. The 1964 model year saw the introduction of many iconic vehicles, and the Dart GT struggled to capture attention amid the popularity of performance-oriented compact cars. As more dynamic options emerged in the compact segment, the Dart GT was often overlooked in favor of more exciting alternatives. Dodge's image during this period was not particularly sporty, and the Dart GT did not significantly change that perception. It was perceived as a practical family car rather than a performance vehicle, further contributing to its forgettable status. The Dart GT was known for its dependable performance and solid construction, making it a reliable choice for everyday driving. Its straightforward engineering made it easy to maintain and repair, which appealed to budget-conscious buyers. The Dart GT was reasonably priced, providing a budget-friendly option for consumers looking for a compact car with some sporty flair. Its affordability helped it appeal to a wide audience, despite its lack of standout features. The compact size of the Dart GT made it easy to maneuver and park, which was an advantage in urban environments. It offered decent interior space for passengers and cargo, making it a practical choice for families and daily commuters. While the 1964 Dodge Dart GT was a reliable and affordable option in the compact car market, its uninspired design and lack of standout features meant it never truly captured the public's imagination. It serves as a reminder that even well-built vehicles can fade into obscurity without a strong identity or memorable characteristics. The 1964 Dodge Dart GT ultimately aged poorly due to its uninspired design and lack of distinctive features. While it excelled in reliability and practicality, it was overshadowed by more exciting competitors in the compact market. As a result, the Dart GT remains a forgotten entry in the automotive landscape of the 1960s. Number 2. The 1965 Chrysler Newport was a full-size car that aimed to provide comfort and luxury, but ultimately fell flat in the eyes of younger buyers. Its oversized body and bland styling contributed to its reputation as a land yacht, making it seem out of touch with the evolving automotive landscape. The Newport's large dimensions gave it a commanding presence on the road, but this also made it cumbersome to drive and park, especially in urban settings. The sheer size contributed to a heavy feel, making it less appealing for buyers who preferred more maneuverable vehicles. The Newport's design was unremarkable, featuring simple lines and minimal flair. In a time when other manufacturers were embracing bold and innovative designs, the Newport's conservative aesthetics failed to capture attention. The Newport was marketed towards families and older buyers who valued comfort over performance, leaving younger generations seeking sportier, more dynamic vehicles feeling ignored. As youth culture evolved, so did preferences for cars that reflected a sense of excitement and style, which the Newport lacked. While it offered a comfortable ride and plenty of interior space, the Newport's features felt outdated compared to more modern competitors that included innovative technology and design elements. The emphasis on luxury did not translate to the kind of performance or engagement that younger drivers desired. The Newport's size and weight contributed to poor fuel economy, which became increasingly important to buyers in the late 1960s and beyond. As fuel prices rose and consumers began to prioritize efficiency, the Newport's reputation as a gas guzzler further diminished its appeal. The Newport was spacious and comfortable, with ample room for passengers and a smooth ride quality that appealed to those who prioritized comfort over sportiness. It offered plush seating and a variety of amenities, making it suitable for long drives and family outings. The Newport was competitively priced within the full-size segment, providing good value for those seeking a luxurious ride without breaking the bank. It offered many features typically found in higher-priced models, making it an attractive option for budget-conscious buyers. The 1965 Newport came with a range of engine choices, including a powerful V8 that provided adequate performance for its size. While performance wasn't its strongest selling point, the engine options allowed for respectable acceleration when needed. The 1965 Chrysler Newport serves as a reminder of how rapidly automotive taste can change. Its oversized body and bland styling made it emblematic of a bygone era, failing to resonate with a new generation of buyers seeking innovation and excitement. Ultimately, the 1965 Chrysler Newport aged poorly due to its oversized dimensions, uninspired design, and inability to connect with younger buyers. While it offered comfort and value, its lack of engagement and modernity led to its decline in popularity, leaving it largely forgotten in the annals of automotive history. Number 1. The 1966 Lincoln Continental was the epitome of luxury in its time, known for its spacious interior and classic design. However, as automotive trends shifted towards more aerodynamic and dynamic styling, the Continental's once iconic slab-sided appearance began to feel outdated. The Continental's boxy silhouette, characterized by its flat panels and sharp edges, was once a hallmark of elegance, but quickly fell out of favor as the industry embraced sleeker, more contoured shapes. As competitors began to introduce more flowing designs, the Continental's rigid profile made it appear clunky and old-fashioned. The substantial build of the Continental contributed to its luxurious feel, but also made it cumbersome and less agile on the road. This bulkiness was at odds with the growing consumer preference for lighter, more responsive vehicles that offered better handling and performance. While the Continental boasted a powerful V8 engine, its heavy weight negatively impacted acceleration and overall driving dynamics. As the muscle car era progressed, buyers began to seek vehicles that offered both luxury and sportiness, something the Continental struggled to provide. By the late 1960s, consumer expectations were shifting towards more innovative features, including advanced safety technologies and better fuel efficiency. The 1966 Continental lagged in incorporating modern technology, making it feel outdated compared to competitors that embraced these advancements. As the luxury market evolved, preferences began to favor vehicles that combined style with practicality. The Continental's traditional luxury image became less appealing to younger buyers looking for more contemporary designs. The emphasis on performance and efficiency began to overshadow the classic luxury appeal that the Continental had long represented. The 1966 Continental was known for its roomy and comfortable interior, providing ample space for passengers and luxurious seating. It offered high-quality materials and craftsmanship, making it a desirable option for those seeking comfort and elegance in their vehicles. The vehicle's signature suicide doors were a unique design element that added a touch of flair and made entry and exit more convenient for passengers. Features like adjustable seating and power windows were ahead of their time, showcasing Lincoln's commitment to luxury. The Continental became a symbol of status and sophistication, often associated with high-profile figures, including presidents and celebrities. Its appearance in popular culture solidified its place in automotive history, despite its decline in relevance. The 1966 Lincoln Continental remains a classic representation of American luxury, but its aging slab-sided design and lack of innovation ultimately diminished its standing in the evolving automotive landscape. While the 1966 Lincoln Continental was once an icon of elegance, it aged poorly due to its outdated styling, heavy build, and inability to adapt to the changing market. As preferences shifted towards sleeker, sportier vehicles, the Continental's legacy became a cautionary tale of how quickly automotive design can fall out of favor.